So yesterday we discussed about the bankruptcy, and then we discussed about the statutory, non-statutory employee workers and independent contractors, and then about the FICA taxes. Now is this it is unemployment compensation, that is FUTA. So Federal Unemployment Tax Act. So it basically establish a state-run system of insurance to provide income to workers who actually lost their jobs. Okay, so it is paid by the employer. Employees do not contribute here. FUTA funds federal or state unemployment programs applies when the employer pays wages of $1,500, more than $1,500 in a quarter, or employee at least one person for 20 weeks. So if the employer satisfies this condition, then he has to pay some contribution to these FUTA taxes. Standard FUTA tax rate is 6.6% on the first $7,000 of the wages. Up to 5.4% is a credit that can be taken by employer if he pays the unemployment taxes. So that means he has to pay 6% and he can get the 5.4% of credit here. Okay, so that means effective tax rate becomes 0.6% only. It is reported annually on Form 940. FUTA does not apply to independent contractor or certain exempt wages. Okay, so it is not applied in case if someone has employed independent contractor or certain exempt wages. These are not allowed under FUTA. Next is workers' compensation. So workers' compensation means is basically an employee compensation which is given in case of any job related injury or illness. So workers' compensation laws are designed to provide financial protection to employees who are injured or become ill during the course of employment. So these laws generally require employers to provide insurance coverage so that the employees receive benefit without needing to provide the employer negligence. Okay, so these basically provide the compensation to the people who are injured at their workplaces. So work purpose of this is to ensure prompt medical care and wages replacement for employees injured at the work, reduce litigation by replacing lawsuit with statutory benefits. So it basically prevents the litigation, reduces the litigation. So in case if the employee files some litigations against the employer in case of any injury, it is better that the company itself, the employer itself pays to them. Protect employer from costly legal actions by providing exclusive remedy provisions. So who are covered under this workers' compensation? So mostly employees are covered, including full-time, part-time, and seasonal workers. So whatever the employee is, whether he is working part-time, full-time, or is a seasonal worker, then these employees are covered. Independent contractors generally not covered here. Domestic workers, agriculture workers, and casual workers may be excluded depending on the state of law. So depending upon the state law, some workers are allowed and some are exempted from this compensation. Okay, so types of compensable injuries are like the compensation will only applies to injury which are actually happening within the scope of employment, like happening within the company premises or within the scope of employment, are caused by job related activities. Okay, so like someone is operating certain machine or doing some work due to which he got that injury. Aggravate pre-existing condition if work contribute to the worsening. Okay, so sorry. So basically, the employees even own carelessness, even the employer aware of this like dangers of the occupation, and even there is some negligence which is caused by the negligence which is caused by the employee itself. But if it is within the scope of employment, then he is allowed to take this compensation. But if there is some intentional self inflicted injuries, okay, so if someone has deliberately like attempt to injure himself to get this compensation, so that will be not covered here. Injuries while intoxicating or violating company policy, so if someone is doing some fight is, or if someone is like drink alcohol and or taken some other like drugs kind of things, and then he got that injury, that will be not covered. Or if it is outside the employment scope, so it is not covered under this workers compensation. Okay. So benefit provided under workers compensation are medical benefits are provided here, or medical treatment, rehab and medications. Disability benefits like temporary total disability. If the person got any disability, then this disability benefits are provided under this compensation. Wage replacement, so typically a percentage of average weekly wages. Death benefits are provided. Vocational rehabilitation is provided. Okay. Also, like if someone like is injured and has to take some prosthetic devices, then the cost of those devices are also covered here. Any burial expenses, any monthly payment also given to, if the injured person has some dependent also. Okay. So what are the responsibilities of employer and employee here? So as an employer, you have the responsibility to obtain workers' compensation insurance or qualify for self-insurance. Report workplace injuries promptly. Have to maintain safe working conditions. Post required notices and inform employees about their rights. So these are some of the responsibilities if you are an employer. But if you are an employee, then like if you got any injury, you have to report it immediately. Seek medical treatment from authorized providers. Cooperate with employer, insurer, and rehabilitation requirement. Okay. Exclusive remedy rules state that workers' compensation benefit generally replace the employee's right to sue the employer. So, it basically, if you are getting the workers' compensation, then you don't have any right that you will like additionally go and file a litigation against your employer. Okay, so exceptions where employee may still sue. So there are certain exceptions when employer intentionally harm the employee, then employee can also go for litigation, can also file litigation. Employer fails to carry workers' compensation insurance. So if employer has not like carry any any insurance, so in that case, employee has the right that he can sue the employer. Tax implications. So if you are getting any workers' compensation, so these are non-taxable items, so it is exempted. Disability payment may be taxable if employee also receives social security disability benefit. So if you are getting the social security benefit also, then this disability payment will be taxable. Penalties for non-compliance. So if employers failing to provide coverage may face heavy fines and penalties. Civil lawsuit from injured workers. Criminal charges are also there. So these are the penalties if employer failing to provide coverage. Okay, any doubt in Workers' Compensation Act? So Workers' Compensation Act basically state that if the employee is like suffered from any injury which is within the scope of employment, then employer has the duty to give him the workers compensation. Okay. But if you are getting the worker compensation, you do not have the right to sue against your employer. There are certain exemption in which you can additionally sue your employer. Okay, but if someone has intentionally, deliberately has attempt to make himself injured or ill, or which is not related to job, like which is outside the scope of limitation, or someone has done some fighting, or like has injured after becoming intoxicated, so in that case this workers compensation will not be given. Okay, talking about tax implication, worker compensation is not taxable, but if you are getting any disability benefit in addition of social security disability benefits, that disability benefit will be taxable. Okay, any doubt?
No, ma'am. No.
Okay, so next topic is Affordable Care Act. So basically, your Affordable Care Act, it is also called the Obama Care Act. It is designed to increase the health insurance coverage, reduce cost, and improve healthcare system efficiency. So these act basically covers your health insurance to increase the health insurance coverage, to reduce certain costs, and to improve healthcare system efficiency. Okay, it imposes requirement of on individual employers and health insurance providers. Employer mandate applicable large employer. So an employer is considered as applicable large employer if it has 50 or more full-time or full-time equivalent employees on average during the previous calendar year. Okay, so the term employer applicable large employer means like if you have more than 50 or approximately 50 full-time employees which is working on average during the calendar year. So requirement for ALE is provide minimum essential coverage. Coverage must be affordable. So coverage must offer minimum value and must coverage to dependent up to the age of 26. So basically it extend your access to the insurance coverage. Okay, also cover some dependent who are up to the age of 26. Coverage should be affordable so that everyone can afford this insurance. Okay, some of the penalties are also applied, like if the employer failed to offer the health coverage with to at least 95% of employees, then in that case he has to pay certain penalty. Coverage not affordable, like if the employer offers the coverage but that coverage is not affordable to his employees, so in that case he has to pay certain penalty. Okay, so basically protects the employee from high Medicare costs. Okay, so basically covers the employee in a large healthcare insurance so that it will benefit him. Also, the insurance coverage should be affordable so that everyone can afford it. It also expand the coverage of this insurance also, like covers the dependent also. So, but in case if your employer is failed to provide such the insurance, then he has to pay certain penalties. Or also, if the insurance is not affordable, then additional penalty will also be there. Next, individual mandate means originally individuals were required to maintain minimum essential coverage or pay a penalty. Since 2019, the federal penalty is reduced to zero, although some state will still impose the penalties. So basically, what happens, like if you are a like individual, then you have to take any insurance plan. Otherwise, you have to pay the penalty to the government. Reporting requirements. So Form 1095C statement to employees about coverage offered. Form 1094C transmittal form submitted to IRS. Coverage for dependent here, ACA require basically employer provided health plan to offer coverage for dependent up to the age 26. This includes biological, adopted, foster and step children. Additional employer responsibilities are to provide summary of benefits and coverage, notify employees of health insurance marketplace option, maintain records of health care coverage offered. So basically, these are all about the insurance plan which should be offered by the employer, and it should cover the high amount and affordable also. So, any doubt in this topic? Any
No.
doubt?
No, ma'am.
Okay, so next is your premium tax credit. So it is basically a refundable credit designed to help eligible low to middle income individual and families afford health insurance purchased through the health insurance marketplace. Okay, so this is a refundable credit which is to help the uh, people who have mm, um, who comes under middle income individual or have low income. So these are covered, these are allowed to take this credit. Eligibility criteria is to must have purchased health insurance through the marketplace. Household income must be generally 100 to 100 and 400% of federal poverty level. Must not be eligible for affordable employer sponsor coverage. Must file a joint return if married. So to get this credit, you have to fulfill certain eligibility criteria, like you have purchased a health insurance. Your household income should be in between 100 to 400% of federal poverty line. You should not eligible for affordable employer sponsor coverage and must file a joint return if you are a married. Next is advance premium tax credit. So taxpayer may choose to have the credit paid in advance directly to the insurance provider also. This actual credit is later reconciled with Form 8962 when filing the tax return. Okay, so reconciliation means the credit amount depend upon actual income. So if advance payment exceed the allowable credit, the excess may be repaid. If actual income qualify for higher credit, a refund may be received. Okay, so if you have credit uh, more than your required, then the excess of the credit is repaid to you. So it is a refundable credit. Calculation factor. So household income taken as a percentage of FPL. Benchmark plan, so second lowest cost silver plan, expected family contribution based on the income. Okay. Any doubt?
No, ma'am.
Next is your Foreign
No.
Corrupt Practices Act. So it is also is an act which is made in response to the bribes which are given by some companies to the foreign officials. So in order to take their in order to improve their activities or in order to take certain operations back to the company, so they paid bribes to the foreign officials. So in order to prevent this, the FCPA act comes into play to prevent the bribery of foreign official and ensure proper accounting transparency by the companies listed in the US. So basically two components of FCPA are here. First is anti-bribery provision, which basically prohibit any kind of payment. Any kind of payment, any kind of bribery you are giving to the foreign officials is strictly prohibited under this act. Next is accounting provision. So if you are a public listed company, then you have the responsibility to maintain your accounting record accurate and adequate internal control, and also there should be a transparency also. Okay. Anti-bribery provision applies to US persons, businesses, US and foreign issuers listed on US stock exchanges. Any foreign person who commits an act in furtherance of a bribe while in the US. A bribery violation include offering, promising, authorizing. So any kind of like extra payment you are giving, whether it is kind of a payment, it is a kind of gift, or anything of value, if you are giving with the corrupt intentions, like giving uh, to have your certain like activities or certain business activities, certain operations. So these payments are strictly prohibited. Permitted and non-permitted payments here. So certain allow FCPA allowed certain exemptions like facilitating or grease payment for routine governmental action. So if you have certain activities which are in routine, so that payment will be allowed. Like if you are have some processing visas, so it is allowed. Payment lawful under written laws of foreign country. Okay, so if the payment is allowed under certain foreign laws, so it will not be considered as prohibited. Non-permitted payment include bribes intended to influence a foreign official discretionary decision. Accounting and internal control requirements state that if there is public listed company, then the company has to maintain their records, their books and account accurately, their internal control to prevent unauthorized payment. Violation can occur without bribery if accounting records are inaccurate. Okay, so even if you are not giving any payment but your accounting records are inaccurate, then in that case there is a violation of FCPA also there. Okay, penalties under the FCPA. So if these rules were broken, l- any kind of payment, or if you are not maintaining your accounting records properly, then there is certain penalties for these violation. First is criminal penalties, fines and imprisonment for individuals. So if someone has done some criminal activity, then fines are also there, imprisonment are also there for those individuals. Then civil penalties are there, which is substantial monetary fines, disgorgement of profit through the improper payments. Okay, so if you are getting any profit because of these improper payment, then you have to subject to the penalties, as well as your profit may be taken by the government. Companies may be barred from government contracts. Whistleblower provision means like which whistleblower may report violation under the SEC whistleblower program. So if someone has found certain illegal activities, then they can report this to the SEC whistleblower program, and their identities will be kept hidden, and they may be eligible for financial award also because they have report these violation to the SEC. Okay, any doubt in FCPA?
No.
Okay, so if you don't have any doubt, so let's do some questions. Okay, first question is, under the Federal Bankruptcy Code, an involuntary petition in bankruptcy may not be filed against which of the following parties? So which party is not allowed, not covered again under involuntary petition? So which can't be forced to file for bankruptcy.
Ma'am, last
Okay, any other guess?
option A.
Okay. So under federal bankruptcy code, your railroad employee, your stockbroker, postal workers, these are allowed for involuntary petition, but a farmer cannot be forced to file for bankruptcy if he is not agreed to this bankruptcy. Okay, so correct answer will be your D, not A. So if someone has is doing certain agriculture activities, like if he is a farmer, then their creditors cannot force him to go for bankruptcy if he is not willing to do so. So farmers, also non profit charities, are also exempted from these involuntary petitions. Is it clear?
Yes.
Okay, so let's do next question. Which, if any of the following statement are true under Chapter 15 of US Bankruptcy Code? Chapter 15. Okay, any guess?
Ma'am, can you explain?
Okay, so which of the following statement are true under the chapter 15? So chapter 15 bankruptcy we discussed yesterday. So you have to tell what which of the following are correct under this chapter 15. So first state that a foreign entity may file only under chapter 15. So is it true that only foreign entity may file under on chapter 15? They can't file under chapter other chapters of bankruptcy. So it is false. They can also go for other chapters of bankruptcy like chapter 7, 11. So first statement is not true. Second statement state that the automatic stay is not available under chapter 15. It is also not true. When you are filing for bankruptcy, your court orders give releases a order of relief, means a automatic stay against your creditor. So this is also not true that it is not available under chapter 15. It is available under chapter 15. Okay. So correct answer will be neither one nor two. Any doubt?
Ma'am, would you say for the second one, the automatic stay?
It stated automatic stay is not available under chapter 15. It is available because when you are filing for bankruptcy, your court issues a order of relief, which is called automatic stay against your creditor. Means your creditor cannot force you, cannot harass you to give their money back because you have now legally filed for bankruptcy.
Understood, ma'am.
Okay. And Dhanashri, any doubt?
Got it. No, no,
Okay. Okay, so let's do next question. Chapter 7 of Federal Bankruptcy Code will deny a debtor a discharge when the debtor. So when does the court can deny a debtor a discharge? Means when the this chapter 7 bankruptcy can be denied.
Ma'am, option C.
option C.
No, it is not correct. It is saying that accidentally destroyed information. So information you are not destroying intentionally. It is accidentally destroyed.
Actually, there is too much theory in this. Can we revise it and we can take the questions tomorrow?
Okay. Then we can do this question. It is related to your unemployment compensation. If let's do the easy one, okay, which we have covered the topic today. An unemployment CPA generally receive unemployment compensation if the CPA. So you have the right to receive unemployment compensation if you are fired as a result of employer's business reversal. So if there is some change in business and due to which you have lost your job, then you have the right to receive this unemployment compensation. Next option state that you left the work voluntary without a good cause, like you have quit your job voluntary without any force or under pressure. Next state that refused to accept a job as an accountant while receiving extended benefit. So you are itself refusing the job and you are fired for embezzling from a client. So if you are done certain fraud and then in that case you are fired. So what do you think? In which case you this CPA will be eligible for this unemployment compensation.
Option A.
Ma'am, first option.
Yes, correct. Okay. So this is correct. In other case, like if someone is leaving the job voluntary or due to fraud, he was fired or he is not accepting. So in that case, you can't receive the unemployment compensation. Okay, so let's do this one. Taxes payable under Federal Unemployment Tax Act are so FUTA taxes. Calculated as a fixed percentage of all compensation, deductible by employer as a business expense, payable by all employers, regardless of total amount of compensation paid to individual employee, or it's partially deductible by covered employee.
Option B.
Okay, any other case?
Last option.
Okay. So, who pay this federal unemployment tax? Employer, employee, or both? What do you think? Who will pay?
Employer.
Yes, it is contributed by employer only. So that means if employee is not contributing anything, then he's also don't get any deductions for this. Okay, so option D is totally incorrect. Next, first option state that it is calculated as a fixed percentage of all compensation. So we already discussed that it is calculated to the amount of your 6% on first $7,000 of the wages. Okay, not on all compensation. So first option is also incorrect. Next, this C option state that it is payable by employer regardless of total amount of compensation to all individual employees. It is also incorrect. Okay, so you have to pay these taxes only about only a fixed percentage on first $7,000 of the wages, and it also like allowed for the employees, not independent contractors. So option C is also incorrect. Option B state that it can be deductible by the employer as a business expense. So yes, if he is contributing to this taxes, then he can also get this deduction as a business expense for the federal income tax purposes. So option B will be correct in this case. Is it correct? Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Next, it is also related to your federal unemployment taxes. So which of the following is correct? I think discussed it.
Ma'am, option A.
Yes, same here answer. Okay, next let's do this one. Unemployment taxes payable under FUTA is it is paid to Social Security Administration, is a tax deductible employer expense deducted from employer wages. Again, same. So which is correct answer?
B.
Yes. So it is also same. Next question. Workers' compensation benefit are available to which of the following parties? So the employees who injured while working on workplace premises, while working within the scope of employment, while commuting to or and from fraud So it cover all agent injured while using the employer's automobile for personal use.
Ma'am, A option.
Okay, any other guess?
A.
Okay, so A option state that you only get, the employee only get this worker's compensation if he is working on workplace premises. Second option state that while working within the scope of employment. So what do you think? Like only workplace premises will be covered, or the within the scope of employment, like within this covered also some geographical area around your.
Ma'am, second option.
Yes. Option number second will be correct. So if it is within the scope of employment, okay, so someone while using some machine, so outside, even outside, or someone is using the, like someone is going for delivery, like which is a employment kind of thing, and in that case he got this injury, then it is also covered. So it should be within the scope of employment. Even if you get the injury within workplace, it might not covered, because if you are intoxicated or like doing some fight with your colleague, or you are intentionally making harm to yourself, so this will not be covered. So it should be within the scope of employment. Okay, so option B will be correct here. Next is under Chapter 11 of Federal Bankruptcy Code, which of the following would not be eligible for reorganization? So Chapter 11 is not be available for which of the following?
Ma'am, B option.
Okay, any other guess? No, partnership and corporation are like allowed for this bankruptcy, but individual or saving and loan corporation, these are not allowed for this bankruptcy chapter. Okay, so savings and loan corporation will be correct answer. Okay. Okay, so I think you will not able to do this. Okay. So first do this one. Which of the following statement concerning workers' compensation law is correct? Workers' compensation. The amount of damages recoverable is based on comparative negligence. Employer are strictly liable without regard to whether or not they are at fault. Workers' compensation awards are payable for life. Workers' compensation benefit are not available if the employee is negligent.
Option D.
Okay, any other case? Any other case?
Ma'am, second option.
Okay. So first, talking about this option D, it is clearly mentioned that even if the employee is negligent, like even if he is already aware of the harm which can be caused in this profession, whichever he is doing, so still he can get this benefit. Okay, this workman compensation, he can get this benefit even if he is negligent or has already know about these harms. But if he done this act intentionally or or by some using some toxication kind of thing, so in that case it will not be allowed, but otherwise it will be available. Okay, the amount of damage is recoverable based on comparative negligence, it is not correct, and these are payable for life, it is also not correct. So employers, yes, these are strictly liable under this compensation law even if they are not at fault. So even if the employee got this damage because of this they are negligent only, there is no fault of employer, still they are strictly liable to give this compensation to the employees. Okay, so correct answer will be B, not D. Is it clear?
Yes.
Okay, so 19th question, we already discussed it multiple times. Okay, so funding from FICA contribution is provided to assist qualifying individual in which of the following group except?
Can you explain?
Okay. Sorry. Funding from FICA contribution is provided to assist qualifying individual in which of the following case except. So basically, whatever you are contributing to FICA, like your FICA taxes, so it will be beneficial for which of the following groups? Unemployment, sorry, which of the following group except. So you have to tell which is not included under these beneficiaries: unemployed workers, retirees, survivor of deceased worker, elderly individual requiring medical services or hospitalization. So it is when you study this FICA topic, it is clearly mentioned in your book that this FICA contribution, when you uh, contribute to these taxes, it is beneficial to some of the categories which are basically your retirees, survivor of deceased workers, and your elderly individual who require medical services or hospitalization. Okay, so unemployed workers are not covered. Like they do not get any benefit from these FICA contributions. Okay, so the only benefit will be given to those in case of retirement, in case of death, in case of disability. It did not cover the unemployed workers. Any doubt?
No, ma'am.
Okay. So can you do this question? Which of the following provision is basic to all workers' compensation system? Employer may invoke the traditional defense of contributing negligence. So employer can use this contributing negligence as the defense. Employer liability may be ameliorated by co-employees negligence under the fellow servant rule. So if like co-employee, like employee who has injured because of other employees negligence, then this liability can be avoided by using this negligence as a defense. The injured employee must provide the employer's negligence. Okay, so injured employee must prove the employer's negligence that in order to get this workers' compensation. Or the last option state the injured employee is allowed to recover on strict liability theory. So employee can recover his uh, damages under this strict liability theory, which state that employer is strictly liable to give this compensation to employee.
Ma'am, last option.
Okay, any other guess?
Option D.
Okay, yes, correct. So option D is correct. Okay. Okay, then rest of the question we will discuss tomorrow. Uh, please revise this bankruptcy topic first. Then we can do this rest of the questions. Okay, any doubt in this topic?
No.
No, ma'am.
Okay, then we will continue tomorrow. So do revise these topics.
Sure. Thank you.
Okay, ma'am.
Bye bye.
Okay, bye.
Thank you, ma'am. Bye.
Bye.